Satellite video shows what looks to be two explosions occurring, precisely where the two Riverside fires broke out that same night. Were these explosions caused by PG&E? Why isn't this a bigger story? From October 8th through Halloween 2017, the Tubbs fire raged. Over 5,000 structures were leveled to ash. Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, was found responsible for 16 of the Tubbs fires at a cost of over $10 billion. PG&E's response was to claim that the fires will continue, and rather than address the problem, they gave a dire warning that any future damages they are found responsible for will bankrupt them. And just weeks later, on August 31st, California state legislature passed a utility bailout bill which would simply pass the buck to the taxpayer and let PG&E off the hook for any future damages. 2 months later, on November 8th, the Campfire wildfire broke out, destroying Concau and Paradise, California. Over 18,000 structures were destroyed, and at least 85 people lost their lives. After an investigation, it was found that once again, electrical transmission lines owned and operated by PG&E caused the Campfire wildfire, the deadliest wildfire in California history. But thanks to state legislature, California taxpayers will cover the cost. On October 9th of this year, PG&E cuts off power to 500,000 homes as a precaution against sparking wildfires in Northern California. A day later, on October 10th, the Saddle Ridge fire breaks out in Southern California. That night, satellite video shows what looks to be two explosions occurring, precisely where the two Riverside fires broke out that same night. But nobody's talking about that. The news is blaming the Sandalwood fire on burning garbage. Were these explosions caused by PG&E? Why isn't this a bigger story? My video that reported on the anomalies of the Campfire wildfire was deleted by YouTube for being inappropriate content. It can still be found at banned.video. But what is inappropriate about asking questions? Who is YouTube working for? There are many practical questions to be asked about PG&E, but there is also a very strange nature to these fires. They seem to destroy houses and spare the trees. They jump from house to house, and they jump to the freeway. They melt aluminum alloy and burn houses to powdery ash. The Rothschild Investment Group collects billions of dollars from PG&E. In an age of outcry against corrupt billionaires, why are the Rothschilds and PG&E being left off the hook?
Watching two major wildfires across California. In the north, a Kincaid fire, so big it looks like this. This is 85 miles away in San Francisco. Meanwhile, in Southern California, they're bracing for those dangerous Santa Ana winds. Matt Gutman is in Los Angeles, has the latest for us. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Robin. We actually just lost a light because the winds are starting to pick up here. And you can see those firefighters behind me. They're literally taking a last stand. Just over the past half hour, the winds have kicked up, and you can see it blowing those singed palm trees behind me. Now, the fear is that the wind is going to kick up embers and cast them perhaps miles downrange, taking them from destructed areas like this and starting new fires. Now, these red flag warnings are underway in 43 California counties this morning. That applies to 27 million people.
Overnight, that rare new video showing the spark which incinerated 12 homes, damaged 5 others in LA's pricey Brentwood neighborhood. Take another look. Officials claiming high winds carried a tree branch into a city power line. Those sparks igniting the flames, fueling that fire. The The charred remains of structures spanning nearly 650 acres. Over 20,000 residents remain under mandatory evacuation orders.
I understand how frightening it is to live in a canyon where these things can happen.
And this morning, Pacific Gas and Electric blacking out about 1.5 million people in 30 counties to prevent high winds from toppling power lines and sparking new fires.
They're probably going to be the worst winds that Los Angeles has seen in the last 2 to 3 years.
And several hundred miles away in Northern California, fires still going. San Francisco firefighters tweeting out this harrowing new video of what they faced trying to quell the Kincaid fire. Infernos on both sides of the highway as they tried to douse those flames. These aircraft now flying overhead, trying to keep the fire down. The Kincaid fire about 15% contained, but over 76,000 acres have burned, 86 single-family homes already consumed by that fire.
We're at the time of year where we haven't seen any moisture in our fuel beds for an extended period of time. They are receptive to new fire as well as fire spread.
Now, that wind could also make more work for firefighters. It could ground the helicopters that we've seen doing so much of the heavy lifting, putting out hot spots in really remote areas. Now, that crew you're seeing behind me, this is their third major fire in 3 weeks. Firefighters here are exhausted. They've been on the front lines for, well, since 3 a.m. Monday morning. And the question right now is not if there will be another fire today, it's where.
Wildfire smoke smells different. You know it's not your neighbor's barbecue or a bonfire. You know what this means. You know you have to go.
The fire quickly spread up the slope, jumped the crest, and began threatening home.
Oh my God, dude. You're gonna have to cut to the left. That's all. Open the gate. Open the gate. I can't breathe.
California doesn't really have a wildfire season anymore just because climate change has made conditions so extreme. But typically wildfire season is the fall. What makes the fall really terrible for these wildfires is these really fast winds that are also really dry. So we're talking about relative humidities that are in the single digits. Just bone dry air outside.
Look at all of these hot spots and smoke. They are everywhere, and with wind conditions like this, all it takes is one big gust for that to go south in a hurry.
At the same time, those winds are pushing the fires, and they don't push the fire just in a line across the land. They push embers from the fire up and out over the borders of the fire into totally different areas, into neighborhoods, into homes, and then those start little fires that then just expand those fires even more quickly. So you've got all of these borders expanding at the same time. And that's exactly the kind of behavior that we've seen in fires over recent years. So human-caused climate change is pushing these fires further and faster in hotter, drier climates.
Managing all the forests in everywhere we can does not stop climate change.
You know, we're seeing roughly the same number of fires that we always did, but now they're consuming much larger areas. So many more acres and square miles are burned across the state, far more than a few decades ago.
The fire was contained in the early afternoon, but not before 36 homes were leveled to smoking ruins.
Fire in California was, for a long time, really kind of a Southern California problem. And because of climate change, it's really moved further and further north.
As the wildfire threat grows in Northern California as well.
Now we're talking about fires across the entire state and also now into Oregon and even into Washington. This is just a problem that's moving with the climate.
Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe.
Somewhat unique problem that's arisen over the last few years is that our investor-owned utility companies are sparking a lot of these fires. Those companies are now facing huge liabilities because they're burning down whole communities across the state. To try to stop the power lines from starting these fires, power companies have actually just been shutting off the grid. And it's had, in many cases, even more devastating impacts on people's everyday lives than the fires themselves.
I mainly travel around on an electric wheelchair. And so I was stuck up here basically because the elevators shut down and don't work in a situation like this when there's no power.
California has really evolved very quickly in response to these wildfire threats. We saw absolutely devastating fire seasons in 2017 and 2018, dozens of people killed in these very fast-moving and spotting wildfires across communities. And in 2019, the state has really reacted quite differently.
Every time the wind blows, we get it right down in our face. You can't see anything.
Firefighters aren't just responding to fires that are already burning. They're proactively going through communities and looking for fires. When winds are up, they're staging already, prepared for something to happen. And we've seen the results of that, which is we haven't had the same kinds of fires that we did in past years. That's really extraordinary and marks a huge shift in how the state government is thinking about what it's going to do in a fiery, climate-changed future.